I've known Keith since almost day one when I came around. So I appreciate you so much, man. Good to see you, and thank you for coming out.
Hey, no problem.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keith Mavic. Yeah, it's good to be on this. Anytime I'm asked to participate, I never say no. You know, it's just that's how it is. Yeah. Once again, my name is Keith Matic, and my clean date is March the 2nd, 1989. 32 years. Um, yeah, I got out of treatment in '88. A retired Metro Rail train operator. Um, yeah, born in Stamford, Connecticut, grew up in North Carolina. Both parents, I don't know if they considered themselves as alcoholics, but they were alcoholics. Yeah, both died from this disease of alcoholism. Um, and my my stepmother, which is my mother's sister, raised me because the state of Connecticut say they couldn't. They was going to put us up for adoption. So they took us in. My stepmother in North Carolina brought me into the family. You know, growing up, my sister lived down the street. I didn't know that was my sister until later on. I don't know, for some reason, and people used to keep secrets and they didn't tell you. I found out later on that was my sister. You know, my stepmother told me later on. Uh, I mean, I was once I found out. Man, I noticed my behavior changed in school. I used to fight a lot. I stayed in the principal's office, you know. So and I did. I was on the. I participated in sports, so I was on the baseball team, the track team, and I did just enough to graduate. You know, I could have did more, but you know, I did just enough just to graduate. Um, I had a son that was born my last year of high school. Um, so my stepdad asked me, what are you gonna do if you stay here? You're gonna have to pay rent, you know. So I didn't really want to do the college thing, so I volunteered. A friend of my cousin and we volunteered. We went in the army as buddy plan, you know. So I volunteered for the army. I went in the army for 3 years. At the basic training in Fort Bragg, basic training, Fort Belvoir, AIT. Um, he went to Vietnam. I went to Germany. You know, I did my tour. He did his tour. Matter of fact, he retired. 3 years was enough for me. You know. So, I mean, I got out, and my stepmother asked me, like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna come back to North Carolina, or are you gonna do Connecticut? So for some reason, I ended up living in the DC area. You know, matter of fact, I had a friend that I met when we was at Fort Belvoir. They used to bring girls to the club at the Army base in Fort Belvoir. So we stayed together, chatted together for a while, and then I had another son. Um, and see, we ended up getting married. That lasted for a while. And I had various jobs. I ended up getting a job at DC Transit. I worked there for a while. What happened? Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Okay.
hear you. We hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay. I ended up working there. And I worked there for a while with Metro. It was DC Transit, and then Metro took over about a year after I was there. And I used to hang, you know, after get off from work, we would go to Party Time on Rhode Island Avenue, just hang out there until wee hours of the morning, just drinking, sitting in the car drinking. And then after that, I separate. We got my wife and I. She decided like you gotta go because all you're doing is just drinking and you're not really participating in this marriage thing. So I separated. We separated. So we stayed separated for a long time. So she finally asked for the divorce. I said, okay, well, no problem. So we went through that. So I met. So after that, I met another female, and I had 2 kids by her. And she and her girlfriend introduced me to crack. So the story is almost getting ready to end now. So it's getting short now. And the first time I tried it, I fell in love, man. It's like, wow, this is it, So, I tried to work, but I just couldn't. I tried to make it to work, but it wasn't working. I would take drugs with me to work on the metro, on the train. I would smoke going through the tunnel. It was crazy. I would get upset when people sit behind me. That would blow my heart. The train would go across the interlocking the switch and knock my pipe over, knock my crack on the floor. And I was losing a lot of weight. And my coworkers was asking me, man, dude, what's going on with you, man? And so of course I was denying it, I'm okay. I was telling them I was on a diet, which I was. I was on a crack diet, So one of my best friends he pulled me up to the side. He said, man, if you got a problem, just go to the EAP, So I did. I went in there. So at that time, it's over to Bladensburg, the EAP, the medical. So I went over there and talked to the medical. One day, the next day, they sent me up in treatment in Pennsylvania. I went up there for 30 days. A lot of good information. Got out, came back, went to aftercare, did basically all the things I was supposed to do. But I kind of didn't really, I had a trust issue, really, I was trying to do it by myself. So I was attending meeting, but I was still using, I would go, I had my home group at that time was Free to Live on South Dakota Avenue over by Providence, and I know early on when Bunny announced it, he was saying, I was CA, but I attend all fellowship. I just, that's what I do, but I do service work in CA, I do service work on the area level, on the world level. As a matter of fact, I just came from the conference in LA, and I was voted in as a member, chair of the NADCP. It stands for National Association of Drug Court. They have it every 2 years at the harbor down by the MGM. So I do a lot of service work. Also, as a veteran, I'm a mentor for the Veterans Court in Upper Marlboro and also Baltimore. Baltimore is in person, but Upper Marlboro is still virtual. They haven't opened back up yet. So when I was attending meetings, I didn't get a sponsor right away. I kept hearing you guys say you need to get a sponsor. I didn't really, like I said, I had a trust issue. So, I came my first year just coming in meetings. I just came to meeting, just sit there. I was listening. I heard you guys, you know. After the meeting, I would run out. Wasn't trying to get no phone numbers. Matter of fact, I didn't get any phone numbers. I finally got a sponsor. Matter of fact, Billy D. He moved to Key West. He got a position in Key West. I said, "Wow, you got to be kidding me!" So I got to do this thing all over again. I got to try to start and get another sponsor. Got another sponsor. He passed. Got another sponsor. He passed. But I still got the sponsor I got today. Like I say, I do a lot of service work. My home group is at 9545 George Avenue, Thursday meeting, 6 o'clock. I'm the treasurer of the GSA, and the fellowship in this area is relatively small. So I'm the treasurer of the GSA and the second Thursday. As a matter of fact, the other chair, he's getting ready to have an operation. So in October, so I'll be doing it for the whole month of October. But it's okay. I don't mind doing service. It helps save my life. I was the one who, after care, they was calling me what they call a chronic relapser. And as a matter of fact, my job is getting ready to send me back to treatment again. I would come in there week after week, said I relapse again, and I could see the expression on the group members' face. They would put their head down like, "Oh, wow, not again," But, I had to be honest. They probably knew anyway, just like on my job, paid on Wednesday, broke on Wednesday, and it was a sad situation. I used to call my parents and ask, could I borrow money? I was like, "Wow, aren't you working? What are you doing with your money?" Be honest, but I didn't really want to tell my parents. I didn't even really want to tell my parents so that I was using drugs, because I grew up in North Carolina in Baptist. I used to hear the older people say, certain things you do, you going to hell. So I was like, wow, I ain't really trying. I don't want to go there. So I didn't want to let them know I was using drugs. And I was the black sheep of the family. And I remember going when I grew up, I said, man, I didn't want to be like my parents, man. I didn't want to be no alcoholic, no alcoholic. I abandoned my kids, which I did. I did the same thing. I left. I rolled out. When my oldest son was born, I went in the military. Escaping. I rolled out, and my other son, daughter, I rolled out. When my other son, his mother asked, she said, he need to go stay with you. It's like, man, I don't know how to be no parent, no parent. So I said, okay, no. So he came and stayed with me. But most of the time I was working, man. I was trying to pay back all the money that I owe. At that time, I owed a lot of money back to the IRS because of my procrastination and my unmanageability, because all I was doing, I never filed, I never filed no taxes, and when I did finally decide to file taxes, I had to pay back quite a bit of money, and at that time, after I really finally got settled after all the relapse and finally got some clean time and accumulated some clean time, somebody had the idea, why don't you go live in an Oxford house, dude? At the time I was separated, hadn't got a divorce yet. So I found out about this Oxford house on 1107 Peace Street, Northwest. The best thing that ever happened to me, because those guys really showed me how to live, man, with all them fines I used to get by leaving stuff on the table or not doing your chores or being unmanageable, you know, and learn how to ask for help, because I mean, I really didn't know how to ask for help, you know, because a lot of times I used to come up short with my rent because I was, at that time I was paying child support, paying back the IRS. And a lot of times my checks were short. So they say, man, them guys say, man, your rent got to become, your rent is important. You have to pay that rent, dude. You know, say, but did you ask another house member for help? I ain't think about that. I said, no, I didn't. So why don't you ask another house member for rent? They pay your rent this week, and then next week you pay their rent. I said, wow, that's a good idea. You know, so I did that, man. So it's like, you know, it's like the little things. And most of those guys, from time to time, I see those guys too that came through that house on 1107 10th P Street Northwest. You know, and I thank them, man. Matter of fact, I talked with one of them a couple of weeks ago. You know, thanks a lot, guys. You know, for that camaraderie. You know, and most of those guys are clean today. You know, and right up the street is a church that I joined too, the 10th Street Baptist, right up the street, which I'm a member of that church, and I'm on the usher board. My plate is full of veteran or mentor, service work in the fellowship, on the usher board. Matter of fact, I was voted in as a vice president. It's like, wow, you know. So it's work, which is good for a guy like me. I need to be, you know, they taught me that in treatment. Dude, you don't need no idle time. Chronic relapser like you know. And I didn't really have a drug of choice. Whatever you had, whatever you say, here, try this. I tried it. You know, I was afraid of needles, but I put my arm out there and let you inject that needle. I didn't know what was in that stuff, you know. But I don't know. I got my oldest son. He lives in California. Grandson, year old. You know, I see him on a regular. My other grandson, he got a game this evening at 5 o'clock. I'm gonna try to make that. Real quick before I wrap it up, I don't know how much time I got left. Wow, this is kind of emotional, but my 30-year-old son, he was living with me. I lost him from this disease. 30 years old, man. This disease. Matter of fact, I tried to put him in Avery Road. I called Avery Road. I said, do you have a bed? I want to put my son in it, but my son didn't want to go, man. He didn't want to go. He didn't want that, you know. And then I remember this is about 3 years ago. You know, I go down a regular visit, clean, make sure his grave site is clean. The Laurel police knocked on the door, man, and say your son is deceased, man. I was like, wow. I mean, you know, matter of fact, I had a breakdown a couple of days ago. It hit me from time to time, you know. So that's what helped keep me motivated. That's what helped me make me do a lot of service work and keep me and try to help another person, man. So this disease, you know, for me, it's personal. For me, it's personal, you know, to lose your baby, man, your son, your 30-year-old son. You know, my son, I used to take him with me to the cookouts that the other fellow NA used to have, the cookouts and the meetings and stuff like that. You know, I used to take him with me, so he you know. But my oldest son, he's doing good. He never drink, or he never used drugs. My middle son, he just came back. He did 4 tours in Afghanistan. He's well. He's married. Just got married too a couple of years ago. My daughter, she just got married a year ago. She's on DC Metropolitan Police Department, along with her husband. Both of them are DC police officer. I just got married again. My wife and I, coming up on our 2nd year. So, thanks. I don't know.
Can you tell us why you chose Cocaine Anonymous and like how the meetings are different from NA or other pathways?
The meetings, Cocaine Anonymous, in my opinion, is not different from the other fellowship, but it's like, that's where I started doing service. And it's like, it's more, you can talk about different things. And I feel you can talk about different things more than in Cocaine Anonymous. It's more open. You can talk about, so some of the meetings I went in AA, they wouldn't allow people to talk about other things that you can talk about in Cocaine Anonymous. It's conclusive. You can talk about all mind, awesome substance, you know, and you know, and I just, I mean, I find, you know, I have friends in other, Dwayne Boston's and stuff. We went to a lot of conventions. Matter of fact, I still go to other conventions and fellowship, you know, but that's just where I fell in love with that fellowship.
How many meetings are in this area for Cocaine
We
Anonymous?
have 10 meetings. And also we have what is called the OSA.
Mhm.
OSA, on service. Matter of fact, this was out even before we had the shutdown. It's on service meetings. Yeah.
Mhm.
We have meetings all over the world. We just voted in during the pandemic. I mean, during this pandemic, we just voted in China, Thailand, West Country, and there was 4 countries we just voted in during the conference. Yeah, we're all over the world, you know, which is good, you know, because there's addicts all over the world, you know, yeah. Yeah, this area is relatively small, but it's Florida. Matter of fact, we just opened, there's three meetings, CA meetings in Ocean City, Maryland. Just opened another one now, Hot Rod told me. So there's three meetings in Ocean City, Maryland. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the convention I went to, that was represented by Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania had that convention. And we're in the process of putting together a convention in this area.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Awesome.
All right, well, keep us informed about that.
Oh, you know, Will.
Absolutely.
So that's it. Thanks a lot for listening, guys.